Bert Breer. It's brought to you by Chevy this holiday season. Chevy helps you make every journey a shared experience, whether it's a truck or an SUV. Find the perfect vehicle to bring people together.
Sounds nice.
All right, we just heard Adam Schefter there. Obviously, the story of the day is Bill Belichick going to UNC. Yep. Seth Wickersham with a lengthy article today where he's got a quote from a Belichick confidant saying this is a big FU to the NFL. Is it a big FU to the NFL, or was it a big FU from the NFL when it comes to Bill Belichick? How did this all go down, Bert?
So, I think his preference was to stay in the league, but I think so. If we take this right back to the beginning, and
beginning of Atlanta, you mean?
Yeah, beginning of not being here anymore.
Yeah.
After they let him go, I think he legitimately thought I'm going to have a real market and I'm going to have options, and that didn't happen. There were 6 teams other than the Patriots that had openings in January, and he only was interviewed by one of them. And I think it's notable too. The way that one went down, right? Yeah. It's not just that he didn't get the job; it's the reason he didn't get the job. It's because of Rich McKay and the front office people and this campaign that was happening inside the building, where people in that place were convinced and told Arthur Blank not to hire him because they were convinced that Bill would come in and fire everybody, whether it's true or not.
Right.
There was that feeling in the building, right, that was going to happen. So he doesn't get that job, but the reason he didn't get that job, I think, is important to explaining all of this. And then, this year he gets the 30,000-foot view of the league, and you hear the way he's talking about other teams, right? Well, this is a bleep show, and that's a bleep show, and that's a bleep show.
One the other night, when Dallas was jumping off sides, he's on the Manning cast, I'm watching, he's throwing his pens in the air this is ridiculous. They're playing at home, and you can't stay on the snap count.
And it goes to
and
that.
He's like, it's like attacking McCarthy.
What was that like? What was that Jimmy Johnson thing that we're really only competing against 8 teams or something like that?
Yes,
was that what it was? Yeah. So but I think going through the year of having the 30,000-foot view of the league, I think made him understand that there are some organizations where you just flat out don't have a chance.
You're bad.
You know what I mean? You go to one of these places as a coach and you are swimming upstream the whole time because
you see how many 3-win teams there are?
Yeah.
Did you see at week 14?
Yeah, so
I never heard of this.
So then you get to the fall, and the Bears have an opening, and the Jets have an opening, and the Saints have an opening. And I think how many more jobs are going to come open? Maybe 3, 4, 5, something like that. And I think he starts to look at it, and he's like, well, they're not going to let me set it up the way I want. Over here, I'm going to have to work for Woody Johnson. Over there, it's going to be this way. And I think the more he looked at it, the more it became I can't take the risk of not taking a job now, and look out. My option might be to go work for some team president I don't want to work for, some general manager I don't respect. I think the risk was too much, when really what he wanted to do was go coach. And I think that part. So you can speak to this. I think that's real. You know what I mean? I think he really just wanted to coach.
It is,
and I think that's not fake.
Because that's what piqued my interest a week ago when we started talking about this. Two people that know Bill a hell of a lot more than I do. And I said, honestly, is this real, or is he just no. He wants to coach, and if he feels he can't coach where he wants to, he's going to give it a run.
And here's the other thing. I think through him and some people around him studying the college game over the last, call it 3-4 months, the closer they looked at the college game, the more I think Bill was convinced that he'd have an advantage in going to college, because the college model was moving closer to the NFL. So NIL is salary cap. Transfer portal is free agency. And in the college ranks, you don't have the constraints of we can only bring in this many players, or we only have one first-round pick. You can flip it a lot faster. I think the guy at Indiana, Kirk Cignetti, is a good example of it. He brought in, 25 transfers?
Yep. Yeah, but 13 of those were his guys, though, right? From James Madison.
But still.
Right, but still. But, it's an example of how, if you do it right, how quickly you can.
His point is, the old time, when we were at school, I couldn't even consider transferring, even though we were unhappy, because you would have to sit out a year. So my ass was stuck at Maryland for 5 years. Kids that would go to school were stuck there for 4-year minimum.
You had to sit out a full year if you transferred.
Yeah. And you had no clue whether there was no such thing as recruiting and all that. This is all different. This is what, like the point you're making.
I mean, I think part of it for him is like, I'm 72. I can get this up and running much faster. Like I can turn it around much faster. So I think it's like elements of like there being NFL type of challenges in the college game, and then like I think the increasing chance that there wasn't going to be an NFL job that came open that he liked, if there was one at all. Like there was going to be, if he was going to go someplace, like he was probably going to have to compromise 6 ways from Sunday, and I don't know that he wanted to do that. Like do it someone else's way. I just at his age, I don't think he wanted to do that.
Do you think his program will work in college?
I think he's got a chance. Yeah. I mean, and one thing about it is everybody looks at him like he is running a zillion different things with all of his players. Most of the guys I've talked to that like have played against Bill, that have coached against Bill, say like what he does isn't overly complicated. It's pretty simple. It's just that like his teams are basically chameleons. They can adapt to whatever environment they need to on a week-to-week basis to make it work. So I think it can work. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to follow the model that Michigan followed, that University of Washington followed, where you have a lot of like 21, 22, 23-year-old players. And the way you do that if you're Bill is you go into the transfer portal now and you go find the guy who, is hearing he's going to be a 5th or 6th round pick and isn't satisfied with that and wants to come back for another year of school, but wants to do it somewhere other than where he is right now and needs to find a place where he's going to be able to turn into a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. Like Bill, I think, should be able to feast on guys like that. And the cool thing is, like, we'll know right away if it was working because the transfer portal is open right now.
That's going to be the most interesting thing too. Like,
yeah.
The parents, they're going to push their kids to go there because I think there's a generational gap with kids.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since he won his last Super Bowl.
I also think like the idea, I know a lot of people have said this that don't understand where college football is right now. Like, what is Bill going to go into the 18-year-old's living room? He doesn't need to do that.
He doesn't do it. I tried telling people that. They don't believe it. I'm like, why can't you get that through your thick head?
Do you know how many home
Saban
visits?
didn't do it.
Do you know how many home visits Deion Sanders has done?
None.
Zero.
Zero.
He doesn't do any. He is Deion Sanders.
He started this. Deion started all this.
Right. Like, I think in a lot of ways, like, the model is Deion. Like, Deion flipped Colorado, which might have been the worst Power 5 program when he got there. And, like, now they're, 9-3?
Yeah.
North Carolina is, like, in a lot better spot than Colorado was when Deion got there.
Yeah.
They're not good, but, like, they're a lot better than where Colorado
See,
was.
what's interesting, this Wickersham article is the number that he puts on Super Bowls. How many times Super Bowl winner was in there, Tim?
8 times Super Bowl
8 times
champion.
Super Bowl winner.
Yes.
Where's that coming
The
from?
smoking gun.
Yeah.
Beside, come on. When you talk about Bill, you talk about 6 times Super Bowl winner. When he's involved with it, you refer to him as 8 times Super Bowl winner. This is all Belichick.
Yeah.
What do you think the staff looks like in North Carolina? In the Wickersham article, they talk about Patricia, Lombardi, Josh McDaniels on these weekly Zooms where they're going through each NFL game. Do you think it's going to be
I don't think
one?
Josh is going to be a coordinator at North Carolina. I think Steve Belichick probably winds up there. I think he probably brings some people from Washington with him.
Oh.
I think Freddie Kitchens probably stays in the staff, maybe as the offensive coordinator, maybe as like assistant head coach type.
Is there a
thing.
relationship with Kitchens and Bill?
Yeah, there is. They're both Saban guys. So like they're both So like Freddie and Bill know each other really well. In fact, like I think those two had talked a little bit over the last couple of weeks because Freddie was in the running for the job because he was the interim coach. So I think that there's a good chance that Bill keeps Freddie.
Real quick though, but before DeBoer, is that how you say his name? Went to Alabama, DeBoer.
Yeah.
How many of Saban assistants were let go and sitting out there? Because this is where I could see Bill taking some of Nick's guys.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I
if
think
Nick calls him and said, "Bill, I got these 2 guys."
I think DeBoer cleaned that staff out. Like I think it was a pretty thorough. Like I'm bringing my guys.
Oh,
with
he
me.
did. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that.
So I think a lot of those guys are floating around.
Good.
Like, and I think that there's probably an opportunity to go and get those guys. I mean, Saban can help a lot too. Like like could you see Saban being there as like a senior analyst or something like that?
It's crazy, dude. I saw LT doing a card show Monday night, and he was asked about it. He said, "Yeah, that's really cool, Bill going there." I've never been back there. He says, "But I'm going back now."
Yeah.
And if he needs me, I'll be there day one.
Right.
Like, that's the type of pull.
I mean,
with football people, not that kids are going to love seeing LT. I'm just saying, when Bill puts out the bat signal, these most guys will run.
I mean, look, like, and this is a guy who's obviously was in the NFL for a half century. If you want to go improve your draft stock in a single year, Chapel Hill is now a destination. You know what I mean? Like, it's because if my goal as a defensive end or a linebacker or a corner is like I need to find a school to go to for 1 year to try to improve my draft stock. Who is there better to develop me for that and to take my game to the next level and to understand what the NFL is going to be looking for in me than Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
Hell of a thing to sell.
And that's the sell. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.